Cowabunga, dude. Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate, coming at you to review the second Platinum Dunes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie by the name of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I think that's what it's called. I just saw it at a second run theater just recently, as in like today, like just today, got back, and I thought, well, what a perfect time to review it. We've already reviewed, me and Matt have reviewed the first Platinum Dunes Turtles movie that came out 2 years ago, and so you can check that review out if you haven't seen it already. At the time, and I still stand by this, at the time I said I thought that the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that Platinum Dunes did was in fact the best thing, in my opinion, that Platinum Dunes has done, or at least the best thing that I have seen them do. I don't think I saw everything they've done, but from what I've seen them do, the first Turtles movie they did was my favorite Platinum Dunes, venture. So, going into this, I guess based on that and being surprised by that, I guess I had some, more higher expectations for this one than I should have had. Long story short, this one was considerably worse for me than the first one. I don't remember the stars I gave the first one, but I guess it doesn't matter. I think first off the bat, this movie just tries to tackle way too many things, way too many characters. Obviously it has, I don't remember this, but it looks like, they must have captured Shredder at the end of the first one and locked him up, because at the beginning of this he's locked up and being transported somewhere. Anyway, this movie is just jam-packed with too many characters, introducing too many characters, unfortunately, and it kind of, I don't know, maybe dumbass move, this movie actually, for the very first time in a Turtles movie, tried to tackle the old cartoon characters of Bebop and Rocksteady and also Krang. I don't believe that those characters were in Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's original books. I mean, I've read some of them back in the day, I haven't read all of them, but regardless, whether those characters are in them or not, they're in this movie. First of all, I mean, on a positive note, I mean, gee many Christmas, I mean, the Krang, looks frickin' fantastic in this movie, and in a lot of ways I don't have a problem with Krang. I kind of liked him in the movie, and I guess I wished maybe you could have just had him, but you can't really have him without Bebop and Rocksteady. But so you got Bebop, Rocksteady, basically being created in this movie. You have Krang coming into the picture, basically kidnapping Shredder as he's being broken out by the Foot Clan, teleporting him to his dimension or wherever the hell Krang is located, saying, if you help me, recover these two other things to make the teleport, then I can teleport the Technodrome to your world and we can rule it. And Shredder, like an idiot, believes this guy. Like, would Shredder believe himself? Anyway, obviously Krang turns out to just, screw Shredder up the asshole. Not literally, or at least not seen on camera. So, not only that, but you also have the introduction, of course, of Casey Jones, played by, if I'm not mistaken, the Arrow TV show's guy who plays the Arrow. So the Arrow is Casey Jones, which is kind of funny. I don't know how the fuck the guy finds time shooting that show to shoot this movie, but whatever. Long story short, too cram-packed full of crap for my taste. The first one was nice just because it was getting to know the Turtles. It was, all you really had is the Turtles and Shredder and I guess that one guy and whatever. So the first one was, just a nice healthy dose of whatever. This one's just way too cram-packed with stuff. I guess I wouldn't have tried to do all this stuff maybe in one movie. It just felt too cram-packed. Bebop and Rocksteady, once they were actually turned into the monsters that they are known as, I just thought it completely ruined the movie for me. Like when I was just like, obviously this fart joke and whatever else joke, after they're transformed into these monsters, both of them look in their pants and go, all right, man, high five. Like, that's frickin' good for a PG-13 movie. Like, you need that in the movie. It's just, so these two characters completely ruined this movie for me. Um, you know, don't really intend on buying it until I can, I don't know if I even want it. Well, I'd probably buy it for like cheap, under $10 on Blu-ray or something, but I actually bought the first one, back in the day, and yeah, I mean, I guess I can just skip the Bebop, Rocksteady, pardon me, stuff from this movie, but way too cram-packed full of crap. There's this thing, obviously the ooze is a part of this movie, very much like the second, Turtles movie from 1991. The ooze makes its appearance in this movie, and whatever, and in a very interesting kind of thing that came up and kind of got put away really quickly. They didn't really deal with it very much. Donatello's like, ooh, this ooze that makes humans into monsters might be able to make us turtles into humans, and he puts it on his little paw, and it's like, all of a sudden he's got, and then it goes, all of a sudden he's got like 4 fingers and a thumb, and it's just like, if we can get more of this, so then like, Raphael and trying to talks Michelangelo into talking April into breaking into the police outstation to try to get more ooze so they can turn into humans, and just kind of a dumb plot point that he decides at the end of the movie. Just he throws the vial against the wall and he's like, hell with it. The same one, Raphael, the same one who wanted to steal it from the police in the first place. So, long story short, Bebop and Rocksteady completely and utterly ruined this movie for me. Unlike the first movie where there was that really cool, what I thought was a cool scene of sliding down the hill and doing whatever action scene down the hill. I think they kind of try to recreate that in this movie, this airplane scene where they jump from one airplane onto another, and then that one ends up being destroyed and they ride it down. There's just so much. I don't know, maybe I was tired and didn't eat enough, or I wasn't, I didn't have enough food in my stomach or whatever, but it was just the non-stop kind of just whatever action crap. Or actually, I mean, it's not non-stop action, but the action when it happened was very dizzying to me, and just like way too many characters, and it was cool seeing like a super high budget, state-of-the-art visual effects versions of like Krang and the Technodrome and stuff. And you could actually in this movie call it the Tetris Drome, because it comes through the porthole, all these Tetris pieces, and becomes assembled and stuff or whatever. And so I mean, it was cool to see like a 21st century computer graphics version of Krang, which I thought they pulled off pretty well. And I actually didn't mind. I kind of liked the Turtles fighting Krang Robot, and how they, he spun around, and with his top half, the robot spun around with his arms out to try to get the Turtles off and stuff. So, I mean, off of him. But on the whole, the movie is just, unfortunately, just kind of abysmal and bleak. The thing that, like I say, too many characters, and it's just like, it does all this shit, getting to know Casey Jones, and it actually, I don't know, he's barely in it, and even when he is, he's barely wearing the hockey mask. Like, he only wears it like in his first action scene, and I think at the end he's not even wearing it, which is kind of stupid. It's kind of like Judge Dredd, Sylvester Stallone. He should be wearing it, Yeah, too many new characters and too little time with the Turtles, and the time that they do spend with them, of course. Well, I guess that's kind of the Turtle dynamic, I guess, is troubles within the ranks and them not getting along and all this kind of stuff. But it was just kind of whatever, seeing them at odds with each other. But I guess that's a part of the Turtles, whatever. Not so much on the cartoon show. They all kind of got along. They didn't have enough time for that drama in the cartoon show. But unfortunately, I can only go 1 star out of 4 stars for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Without Bebop and Rocksteady in the movie, it probably would have been at least 1.5, but those 2 characters, or if you want to call them that, completely just destroy this movie for me and just make it so unenjoyable and just with the, just, they're just gross and nasty and farting and looking at their newly enlarged, yeah, presumably enlarged, I don't know. So, you know, Shredder's kind of just a pawn of Krang, which I can't remember what the dynamic was. That's probably what the dynamic was in the show or whatever, but yeah, I mean, I don't think Shredder even does much in this movie. I don't think he ever really fights the turtles or does anything like that or whatever. So very much more like the, you know, the first Platinum Dunes Turtles compared to this one. So I guess I might as well just leave it at that. So I'm glad I only paid like $2 to see this movie, and I'll probably buy it if I can find it $5 or less down the road. Maybe, maybe not. I can skip past the Bebop Rocksteady stuff. Unfortunately, there's really nothing about this movie that, you know, I really like. I guess the first action scene with the turtles in the turtle van or the turtle dump truck or whatever was probably the best scene for me. Like, you know, overall, like them trying to stop Shredder from being broken out of the van on the freeway or whatever. At the end of the first Turtles movie, they had kind of a turtle van, and I guess they dumped that idea in between making that one and this one, because, you know, now they have like a turtle dump truck or whatever. So whatever. So that scene with the shooting manhole covers and stuff was kind of cool and whatever. So can't really recommend this unless you can see it for, well, I can't even recommend it for $2 really, or $1. So can't really recommend it at all unless you just want to see these CG fat gross things fart and eat nasty looking spaghetti and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, light on, you know, since there's so many characters, they really didn't have time to do any character study or development with anyone else that's been already introduced. April, I still think, you know, they could have at least put her in like a yellow jumpsuit just for at least one scene or part of a scene or some kind of. I'm so surprised they haven't done that yet. Just put her in. I just want to see Megan Fox just in a, you know, just a yellow jumpsuit for just 30 seconds. Just make my wish, you know, come true. So, I guess we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching this review, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one. Cowabunga.